I did not wash my rear end until I was 19, and it's beyond embarrassing. I was stationed in Southeast Asia, a very hot and humid climate. My napkin plugs, made of cheap one-ply shipboard, septic-friendly TP, would quickly soak through with sweat and fecal curds, and I would have to replace them often. A hassle? But what else was one to do? Wash? Never occurred to me. I started to feel an itch back there. The itch was mildly uncomfortable at first, but over a couple weeks it became maddening. One night at a dance club in Singapore, all the sweat and movement had me on the brink of insanity, with the itching and irritation. I began to feel actual concern for my well-being. While in the club bathroom, I pulled down my pants and looked over my shoulder into the mirror to see what is happening back there. What I saw shook me to my core. My entire ass was covered in red, welted sores, some weeping and scratched open. I looked like some kind of disease victim. Even more concerning was that the closer it got to my anus, the rash got even more dense, red, and scary. The source appeared to be my brown place. I had to open things up and take a peek. There was no choice here. Slowly, I parted my ass cheeks to gaze into my very own brown eye of Sauron for the first time in my life. My cheeks were almost stuck together from the broken, leaking sores and scabs. The very center, my poor rectum, was like the red eye of a very angry fungal hurricane. Despite my tendency for denial, I immediately thought, I am going to die. It was like something you see in a medical textbook and ask, who lets this happen to themselves? The best description I can think of is severe second-degree burns, which had been scratched open and smeared with human feces while leaking pus. The very next morning I went to the doctor on the ship. I did not mention the whole napkin plug system, which I was very much afraid had contributed to my current issue. I just said, I have an infection back there, I think. Now, on a Navy ship, there's a real doctor, an officer. But the person who preps you is often just a regular dude like you who's a basic med tech right out of boot camp. I will never forget his reaction when I bent over the exam table and pulled down my underwear. God bless him. He tried to play it off like no big deal, but I heard him stifle a deep gag, and he immediately left the room, his face as pale as death. The doctor, a seasoned Navy veteran, finally came in to me, on full display, and even he was like, oh boy, as he gazed upon the magnificence of my rotting, corpse-like rectal zone. He gave me a tub of antifungal ointment and told me, keep the area very clean, which I immediately started doing. And since the ointment had to be placed directly on the whole zone, I got very used to touching my most secret area. And soon, I was just like all of you. A normal, ass-washing, ass-touching, non-infected man. If you are a young, or even an old person reading this with issues regarding personal hygiene, please learn from my lesson. Please